Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with another Fiendsmith Azamina deck. This time we're playing these two engines with White Forest, the other Yubel lore deck. Of course, it has pretty natural connections with the Azamina archetype in that regard. Even if Fiendsmith isn't a part of that lore, it's also still quite good here. The first thing you might notice about the extra deck is that we're not playing Desiree, and we're not playing rank 6s. So you might be wondering, well then why are we playing Fiendsmith? And that's actually something that I grappled with a little bit in the deck building process. This was a lot more difficult of a deck to build for me than the Fiendsmith Azamina Snake Eye deck was. And a lot of that came down to me thinking, is the Fiendsmith engine worth it? And the answer is actually still definitely yes, for a couple of reasons. One is that the Fiendsmith engine is really, really good at drawing out negates from the opponent, hand traps, right? And the other is that we can still make use of the level 6 Engraver body, even if we're not on rank 6s, because for our build, we are playing Ultimaya Zulkin. I'm going to give another huge shout out to Moha here, who continues to be one of my personal favorite Master Duel content creators to follow for combo guides and the like. So this portion of the build definitely was hugely inspired by their combo guide video, which I'm going to link in the description below. Feel free to check that out. But yeah, no, this build has been quite fun. Azamina alone hugely raises the ceiling of what White Forest is capable of. Again, Fiendsmith is mostly here to bait out interactions, but does still have its use. The one thing that I think I really don't like about Fiendsmith in this deck is actually how much extra deck space it eats up, and that's only just playing Lacrima. I've actually heard this is pronounced Lacrima, I think, and then Requiem, as well as Moon of Closed Heaven and Sequence. These 4 slots actually really matter for Azamina White Forest because we're not able to play stuff like Chaos Angel or Baron de Fleur, maybe like IP Masquerena, these cards that we would actually normally go into a decent bit, don't really have room for in the extra. But I'm willing to test a version without Fiendsmith and kind of see which of the two is more worth it. I mean, once we get main deck Lacrima, whichever it is, once we get the main deck version, then obviously Fiendsmith becomes a lot better. But for the time being, you know, it's not like, I mean, Engraver will get us multiple bodies, sure, but it's not like Tract or Lurie is going to necessarily get us a full Fiendsmith line. So, but to be fair, they do get out a level 6 body, which is really all we're looking for at the Ultimaya Zulkin. You could summon that alongside the Rakila, the Silvera, or also we play Coral Dragon as well. I'll show you how we incorporate that into a turn 1 combo line. You might have like heard me talk about extra space and looked at Coral Dragon and been like, really? But yeah, Coral Dragon's actually pretty good in this build with Ultimaya Zulkin. Again, shout out to Moha for showing me, or showing us all that line with the video. It's not like they showed me personally, but yeah, what else? Oh, but the main level 6 non-tuner body you'll use is actually the Mu Rakilago here, Rashilago. I think that it's a sh with the C. I don't know, but yeah, there's quite a few 1-card starters we actually have. Well, it's all kind of 1.5. You need a spell and trap card with pretty much anything to get your plays going, but Stellar is a starter. We have Elzet's as starters. Sylvie is starter as well. Those are the main ones, and there, I mean, you can make some plays if you open with like Yubel Star and or Engraver, right? Even just like those plus normal summoning a hand trap will still maybe get you into like Appaloosa and or SP Little Knight, or you could use multiple bodies to go into Moon of Closed Heaven if you really wanted to, and then pivot into Fiendsmith from there. That's another reason why it's kind of nice to have a Fiendsmith engine, is to always sort of have that option to keep making plays, right? Another way besides Fiendsmith in which my build is a little bit different is that because of the extra X space, we're not able to include Guardian Chimera, which is another card that if I wasn't playing Fiendsmith, I would be on. We can make Guardian Chimera with Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. during the opponent's turn to pop 2 and draw 1. But again, since I lack the extra deck space, I'm instead on Sinful Spoils of Slumber Morian, which is a just pretty simple Book of Moon type effect, but also, much like a lot of the other Sinful Spoils / White Forest spell trap cards, you can send it for effects and then later in the turn reset it. You just have to have a level 5 or higher illusion monster, of which your Azamina monsters are. So that's a pretty easy requirement to fulfill there. Alright, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the build. Let's go ahead and see how it does in some games. Before you do that, I'm going to break it down card by card so that y'all know what is in here. We are on 1 Fabled Lurie, 2 Max C, 3 Esteller of the White Forest, 3 Elzette of the White Forest, 1 Elzette Azamina of the White Forest, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Sylvie of the White Forest, 1 Rukia of the White Forest, 3 Molcharmi Fuolos, 2 Fiendsmith Engraver, 3 Diabellstar the Black Witch, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 2 Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Tales of the White Forest, 2 Fiendsmith's Tract, 1 The Hallowed Azamina, 1 Deception of Sinful Spoils, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 1 Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, 3 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Sinful Spoils of Slumber Morian, and finally 1 Woes of the White Forest, and that's going to be our main deck. For the extra, we've got 1 Fiendsmith Lacrima, 1 Azamina Ilia Sylvia, 1 Azamina Mu Rishilago, 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Silvera Wolf Tamer of the White Forest, 1, so would it be Rishila then? Sinister Soul of the White Forest, I think? 1 Crystal Wing Secret Dragon, 1 Diabell Queen of the White Forest, 1 Ultimaya Zolkin, 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven, 1 Fiendsmith's Sequence, and finally 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. That's going to be our list. Let's see those games now. Okay, so we're going to start off with a mirror match, because this will show a going first line to pretty much full completion. I think actually full completion here. Alright, we'll be taking the first turn. And Sylvie is, as mentioned before, one of the kind of 1.5 card starters we have for our line. But I'm going to start with Fiendsmith's Tract, to which our opponent does chain Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Exactly what I was talking about before. This is the exact kind of reason why I like the Fiendsmith engine. One of them, anyway. But we'll then normal summon Sylvie and add Tales of the White Forest. We can then activate that in order to add Elzette Azamina of the White Forest. We'll special summon using her effect and then synchro summon. This is where our 0.5, the other spell and trap card in our hand, comes into play here. As we go for Rasila, Elzette will get to activate as well as the Rasila. We're going to send our Infinite Impermanence in order to add Esteller of the White Forest from deck to hand, and then Elzette's going to add Deception of the Sinful Spoils. We'll use Deception to tribute that Esteller that we just added in order to add the Hallowed Azamina from deck to hand. We can then activate, revealing Mu Rishilago, which we can then fusion summon by sending Deception. And once we summon her, we can activate her effect in order to add Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils, to our hand. We'll then synchro into the Ultimaya Zolkin. Hallowed Azamina can add itself back, and that's super important. Don't forget to do this part. You have to set it, so that way you can activate the Ultimaya Zolkin effect. You'll then activate this as Chainlink 1, Hallowed Azamina Chainlink 1, Wanted Chainlink 2. This will let you not only add the Diabell off the Wanted, but then so you still get to send the Wanted off Hallowed Azamina in order to summon Ilia Sylvia. Remember to put Ilia Sylvia in the middle, so that way you can get the Cross Sheep zone later. Gonna draw a card with Wanted, Diabell special summon. Again, this is all from, this whole line is from Moha's video, so link in the description below if you want to see more lines from them as well. We get to link Diabell and Zolkin into Cross Sheep. And then Sylvie's going to summon into the other Cross Sheep zone, because this is something that always trips me up about Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, I always think, oh, it's when I summon a fusion monster into Cross Sheep zone I get the effect. No, it's when you special summon anything into Cross Sheep zone and it's pointing to one of these types of monsters. So yeah, if you're confused about that, which again, that has definitely tripped me up before, remember, we just summon the Sylvie into Cross Sheep's other zone as long as one of them is pointing to our Ilia Sylvia. But yeah, we get to bring back a Esteller, use a Esteller to summon Rukia, and then we can go for Appaloosa. We can use our Morian to reset itself. Now here I have to end my turn. If I had had another spell or trap card, I could have activated the Rukia effect, which I believe would have triggered the Stellar effect. Yes, that is not activated yet. And then I could go into SP Little Knight. The reason I couldn't do it here is because Rukia has to send the card to the graveyard as a cost to draw a card, and Morian does banish itself when it leaves the field. That is, I guess, the big drawback of using Morian instead of the fusion spell. But again, with our extra space because we're on Fiendsmith, I don't have room for Guardian Chimera. But still, we have our important negates out. 3-mana Apo, Ilia, Sylvia, Crystal Wing, Secret Dragon. Opponents can lead with Kashtira Fenrir, and this is a situation where the Morian is perfect. Well, I thought I was up against Kashtira, or potentially Tearlewit, but if it's Kashtira, think about it, right? We just turned the Fenrir face down, so it's no longer able to use any of its effects, and they're not able to special summon any more cash monsters from their hand. Now, it's actually a mirror match, and they're on a cash engine, but they're still going to concede all the same to this board. So that's definitely not too bad. And of course, we still had a couple of hand traps in hand as well. So yeah, again, that's a pretty nice example of what the deck is capable of when it goes off. And it went off thanks to our Fiendsmith card, baiting out the Ash Blossom there. Definitely love to see it. But we still have a couple more games that I want to show you. Let's go ahead into the next one. Okay, so this one is going to be a 9-turn game against Sky Striker. Not that surprising though, Sky Striker of course being a control deck. I do want to cover Sky Striker as well, since I pulled a good amount of those alt art cards. So they let us go first. We lost the coin flip, but we're going first. LZ is going to send Woes here. This is a hand where we have a lot of different things we could do, but we're going to get hit with probably just the best hand trap in the format right now, and one I'm going to start making an effort to include in as many decks as possible. Droll and Lockbird, when it comes to playing against Fiendsmith and Azamina cards, ends up being really, really good. So this card's Droll Stonks, I believe, are at an all-time high at the current moment. Maybe not as high as they were in like Super Heavy Samurai format, but the card's really, really good right now. Definitely don't sleep on it. I mean, that means I can't normal summon Sylvie and go into my full combo like I would want to, which is a real bummer. I'm going to go for the Diabell Star. The Veiler on it is... it's actually not that fine, because I was going to set Deception and try to go for Ilia Sylvia, but I'm not able to do that. Well, that wouldn't even work, because I wouldn't be able to go for Howard Azamina anyway. So I decided to just special summon Rukia and then go for SP Little Knight before passing. Specialing Rukia, that way I can use Woes, summon a Stellar, and then go into Silvera. That'll then let me add back LZ during my opponent's turn. I thought at this point, though, it was Tenpai. Against Sky Striker, unfortunately, Silvera turning their field face down actually kind of does nothing because of Ray's quick effect. Like, if I tried to go into Woes there, you know, while Ray was face up, they would have just chained Ray's effect. And of course, you can't turn Link monsters face down, so I'm going to use Woes when they go to activate their Thuolos here. Because if nothing else, even if Silvera doesn't turn anything face down, it'll add the LZ back to my hand. It gets a Stellar into my graveyard to be summoned back in a follow-up turn, and also it might help enable my Rukia to come back if they try to like out my Silvera, right, by destroying it or something. They are going to end up using a Shark Cannon against my LZ, unfortunately, so I don't actually get to add that back. Sorry about the sound outside, by the way, that's a snowplow going by. Now here, they do end up having the Shizuku. So this was actually kind of big. I kind of skipped over it there, but that's actually kind of a big thing I was debating about this turn, right? When they activated, what was it, Shark Cannon, do I want to use SP Little Knight to banish the Shizuku? And the reason I didn't end up doing it and let my Little Knight get battled over is because if I'd activated Little Knight and banished Shizuku, they would have summoned Ray from the graveyard, and then they could go link Ray into Hayate, and because that would be during the main phase. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to activate Little Knight during the battle phase. Now here they end up having, their last card was Mobilize Engage, so they went for the Hayate anyway. So what I was playing around kind of didn't come to fruition. But I think one of the reasons I should have actually activated Little Knight, excuse me, is because during the end phase it would have put Shizuku back into a main monster zone, and then my opponent would have been able to activate any of their Sky Striker cards. But I don't know. It's debatable. Like, because if they didn't have Engage as their last card, cool alt art Rhoda, by the way. If they didn't have Engage as their last card, and they'd just be kind of stuck on Shizuku. I mean, I guess they could just link Shizuku into Hayate. Like, normally. But then when they go to activate Hayate during the battle phase, then I could have used SP Little Knight. Then Rei would have come back. And then main phase 2, they could have linked. Okay, so they would have gotten it anyway. No matter how they did it, I think. Yeah, they're gonna go for a Zeke here using Rose. I'm like, that's completely fine. I can just use Rukia Effect to put the Silvera back in the extra deck and still get my body anyway. So I know that face down card though is of course going to be the Widow Anchor they searched, which is a problem. But really, when you're in a situation like this, in my opinion, you really just have no choice but to play into the out that they have. Because like, what am I going to do? Just pass and they still have Widow Anchor face down? It's like, you have to address the problem at some point, right? Might as well do it sooner rather than later. But unfortunately, we do have to pass into them having a Sky Striker monster on the field, meaning they can just go into Kagari. Kagari gets to add back the Engage, and yeah, things are looking a little bit dicey at this point. We're in top deck mode, and they're in their gameplay loop. This is exactly where a control deck, like Sky Striker, right where it wants you to be, right? They're going to go Kagari, battle over Sylvie, main phase 2, link the Kagari into Shizuku, I imagine, right? Yeah. And, even worse, they end up with the Mecha, not Hornet Drones, that's the other one. What's this one called? Mecha Module Multi-Roll, that's right. Which means now they can start looping their Widow Anchors. Alright, I'm going to special summon LZ here. This also triggers my Stellar effect. One of their two face downs end up being called by, though, so they're just going to use that on my Stellar. Which is fine, honestly. It's not like I have a spell trap to use the Stellar's effect anyway. But I would have really liked the extra body. They end up using the Widow Anchor on the LZ, though, which I'm like, that's totally fine. Because now I can normal summon Sylvie, go for Tails, activate Tails, get LZ Azamina, special summon LZ Azamina, and here's where I think I made another misplay. I went for the Synchro Summon. I should have gone for the Fusion Summon, I think. I think I should have Fusion Summoned into Murcielago here, and then added Wanted for Diabellstar. I don't know. I think that would have been better than what I ended up doing, which is just going for Coral Dragon. And then LZ Azamina adds Deception. Well, okay. I don't know. It's like, this is another situation where, like, that's so debatable. Like, I really feel like you could have gone either way here. Because we do get to summon the Murcielago anyway. Add the Wanted. Go for the Ultimate Zolkin. Oh, right, I forgot. This time gets us to Crystal Wing. No, this was the right play then, I think. Never mind. Forget what I was about to say. Yeah, because we can still summon Ilya Sylvia here and add Diabellstar. Yeah, we get to just pop off at this point. No, I think what I was more thinking of, because I remember thinking of that alternate line in the moment, but I was more thinking that, oh, that would have been a misplay if I had done that line, rather than my current line was a misplay. I think I just got a little mixed up there, but we'll summon Diabellstar by pitching that Fuelos we drew. Still have an Ash Blossom in hand, by the way. Get to set the Morian, leaking Diabell. What were we, oh, into Moon of Closed Heaven here. Yeah, I debated if I wanted to go into a Fiendsmith line or not, because I think I could have also activated the effect. Oh, but that's just if I summon a Link 5, right? And I don't play, yeah, Underworld Goddess, so never mind. Yeah, so we're going for Engraver. Equip Engraver with Requiem. We can activate the Engraver effect, send the Shizuku. Battle over our own LZ. Now we have an Ash Blossom as well as the Ilya Sylvia and the Crystal Wing. And here's where I made yet another misplay. I used Ilya Sylvia's effect on the multi-roll here because I completely forgot this was only a negate and not a negate and destroy. I think they would have set Engage, and since I have Ash Blossom, that would have been completely fine. I think I did pretty hugely misplay on that. Yeah, I would have used Ilya Sylvia on the What maneuver is that there? It's Afterburners, yeah, of course. I would have used it on Afterburners there and saved myself a lot of trouble. But Sylvie's not a bad top deck. We're going to normal summon. They have a set monster, so they can't use the Widow Anchor just yet. But I think, let's see. Yeah, this is one of those situations where I really wish I would have had a Baron de Fleur. Again, we're just going to play into their Widow Anchor since we know they have it. They're going to set the not multi-roll. They're going to set with multi-roll the Engage, which I can negate with Ash Blossom, but we still have the issue of they get to set their other Widow Anchor off the multi-roll. So we'll have to play around that on the follow-up turn here. Although, actually, they just solved that problem for us by setting another monster. I don't know why they keep setting monsters here. I mean, to not die, I get that, but, like, you just turned off your own Widow Anchor. Now it doesn't even really matter what I top deck, right? Because I can normal summon Hand Trap, in this case, Ash Blossom. We link into Sequence. Sequence F activates. And then, yeah, this would have summoned Lacrima, and then that would have brought back Engraver, and then we would have activated Requiem to equip to Engraver, and activate Engraver. See, I don't know. I think they could see it a little bit early. I think they could have maybe lived one more turn, but either way, we were definitely a lot more well-poised at that point to take over. Oh, they must have thought I was going to go into Desiree, and that's why they conceded. Jokes on them. I don't have room to play that. Although this is kind of one of those situations where it would be really good. So it's worth I mean, got so many things you can play in this extra deck. Anyway, I do have one more duel that I want to show off before we end here. So let's see that last one. For the last game, it's going to be a going second game against Fiendsmith Yubel, which I do plan on covering Fiendsmith Yubel. Probably just going to do that one next, but yeah, I'll probably just do that one next. Alright, so they're starting here. We do have a Fuelos, and they don't play anything. I actually completely forgot about that. Okay, we take those. Oh, wait, I remember this game. I actually totally remember this game. Yeah, so they passed without doing anything on turn 1, which means they probably have a lot of hand traps. And the answer is that they do. We're going to start with our Fiendsmith to try to bait out some of those hand traps going into Requiem, activating the Requiem effect. And here is where they chain not one, but 2 Mulch Army Fuelos. So, yeah. That's going to be a little bit of a problem, potentially. So we give them 2 draws off this Engraver, and now I'm looking to get to 8,000 points with giving them as few draws as possible. To try to achieve that, I'm going to go for Diabellstar. I have to set Wanted, it's my only target here. I can use Deception Effect to tribute the Fuelos to add Hallowed Azamina. Now, I'm fine giving them 2 draws here, because it's going to not only give me another body, but particularly an Omni-Negate in the form of the Ilias Sylvia. Alright. We'll go for the LZ next. We get to tribute the Deception, although they have an Ash Blossom here. That's definitely a big problem, because if we take a look at our total damage on board here, it's 6,200. LZ, and we still have a normal summon too, by the way. LZ could have added the Sylvie, which we could have normal summoned. Sylvie effect for, we could have gone for Tails. Maybe giving them 2 more draws, we could have put 8,000 damage on the board. But we still have options here. I'm going to go for the Wanted draw here just to see where we're at with our hand situation. Nib isn't going to do a whole lot for me, unfortunately, so I'm just going to normal summon LZ. We're going to link the LZ with the Engraver to go for Fiendsmith Sequence. This will give them a couple of draws, but I get to activate Sequence here, try to go for some more bodies off the Lacrima. They're going to end up using Imperm on the Sequence. I mean, unfortunate, but you had to figure they would have something by this point. We do, however, get to activate the Engraver Graveyard effect to special summon itself. And after activating Requiem's Graveyard effect, that actually leaves us at exactly 8,000 damage. So, let's see, we end up giving them, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 additional draws after the first 2, which we couldn't help, of course, because it was in response to Requiem's effect, but yeah, they tried to bait me a little bit with Imperm. I guess I already attacked with Ilias Sylvia anyway, but Whew, there we go. Managing to find 8,000 life points without giving them too much there. Yeah, I was really terrified of Nib in particular. Even with the Ilya Sylvia up, I was still terrified of Nibiru, because here's the thing. Even if they activate Nibiru and I tribute Ilya Sylvia to negate it, they still have like a 7-card hand, and now I don't have the ability to OTK anymore. So that means I'm going to have to pass into them with a subpar board. That's the kind of like calculated risk you have to take when you're in a situation like that and your opponent has resolved like multiple Fuelos or Maxi plus Fuelos. You have to decide, okay, can I make a solid enough board to survive with what I have, or do I just have to go for the OTK? This is particularly on, turn 2 or later. But yeah, I knew after giving them a couple of draws the first time, I was like, there's no way they don't have a starter by this point. I just have to go for it. I just have to go for it. And it thankfully paid off here. So, all right, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. But why don't we go ahead now and move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.